Esquer Casco, Guggenheimen, Bilbao, Guggenheimen.
Thank you very much to the Guggenheim for having organized this event here today. Thank you for this invitation to tell you a little bit more about us here at this venue.
And the minister for this invitation to present here at the wonderful Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. I think this is a fantastic place to be, no? Yes. The new European Commission is pushing the Union of Skills to empower citizens and workers in this changing world. For Europe, the Basque Country, Spain, to benefit most of the Union of Skills, we need to put the priority to the quality jobs roadmap. In my presentation, I want to stress the importance of the Union of Skills, especially in this context of tariff wars and this world of globalization. So what can we do in this context? The European Commission puts the bet on skills first. It's only in the fourth quarter of this year that the quality jobs roadmap will be agreed upon. And the European Commission has asked the social partners to look at it. For the Basque Country, plans like the Union of Skills is crucial, is an essential part of the future. And I've heard a lot of plans in the discussion earlier by the minister. But does the Union of Skills help students, help companies sufficiently? My contention is that, yes, of course it does. But we need to get our priorities right. We need to invest first into better workplaces, quality jobs roadmap, and then the Union of Skills. I'm going to show some results from the Gini project, a project that I conducted with the Basque colleagues here, from the Bridges 5.0 project, which you can see the colors here, which I've also conducted with Basque colleagues, and the other project that I'm also a part of, the Seismic project. And I'll show some results from Dutch research, which not completely have the same kind of results as in the Basque Country, but of course it only shows that we in the Netherlands, because that's where I come from, can learn from what happens here in the Basque Country. So my name is Steven Dhondt. I'm a senior researcher at the Dutch company TNO, which is like Tecnalia in Spain. I'm also a professor at the KU Leuven, and I'm currently the coordinator of the Bridges 5.0 and Seismic projects. So, the Union of Skills helps to some degree. And how am I going to structure this presentation? I'm first going to start with the Union of Skills, explain it. Secondly, I will focus into how does a focus on skills help, or are there some problems if you use such an approach? Third, I'm going to look at why should we have this focus on quality jobs first. And I'll finish with, well, if we learn from all these things, then we can adapt this Union of Skills program. So the Union of Skills provides only a partial agenda to what we need in workplaces and in companies. If you only go for the Union of Skills, it will generate a lot of skills. But are these the skills that companies need at the moment? So that's what I'll try to investigate. So what is this Union of Skills? Well, it consists of 5 components. As you can see, building skills. Second, upskilling and reskilling. Circulating skills. Moving people around in Europe. Attracting, developing and retaining talent, which is more the migration agenda in Europe. And it will have a groundbreaking new kind of governance. The current budget planned for this Union of Skills is 150 billion euros. And I know that a lot of people here in the room will probably be writing proposals for this program. So it's ESF Plus, Erasmus, but also other programs that are a part of this. And the Union of Skills is not per se new for this current new European Commission, but it has been put very high on the agenda. You can read from this this sheet that the insistence is on new digital skills. Secondly, it's also a commitment to training. We know from the research done by the European Commission, CEDEFOP in Greece, that employers do not invest sufficiently into training. We heard from the minister that this is something which is quite important also in the Basque country, but we need companies to invest more into training and retraining. And we need to make sure that the European worker can work everywhere. But as the minister also said, we will also want people to work here locally. So that's important for this kind of strategy too. And the last one, I think, is also quite substantive, but it has the wrong intention because Europe says we need migrants, but we're going to be cherry picking these migrants from other countries. I think that the approach used by the Spanish government saying we do not need only university students from outside, but we also need nurses, we need other kinds of skills, and we need a more open approach to this. I hope that the European Commission will change their attitude and thinking in this respect. The remarkable thing of this Union of Skills is that it was planned to be launched together with the Quality Jobs Roadmap. But I don't know what happened. The Quality Jobs Roadmap has been postponed till the end of the year, and the social partners have been asked to develop this further. I think this is not only a responsibility for the social partners. I think they have a great role, but I think the Basque government, the national governments, and the European Commission should also be at the table and think and talk about this quality jobs roadmap. So, why do I say that? If I say such a thing, you probably hear the doubt that I have in this program, and I put the two words in here why this is the case. The thing is, does Skills First help productivity in companies? Does it help the innovation? So let us develop this and let us use some results from the Netherlands. As you can see here, there's a scale that goes from 0 to 140. Well, 100 means between 2013 and 2023, if it would be 100%, nothing has changed. On the left side, you can see the number of people working in technical jobs. On the right side, yes, the right side for you, it's the number of people coming into education system, into VAT, into academic level, or into secondary level, but with a technical profile. Well, as you can see, technicians in the labor market has grown the double of the number of the growth in the working population in the Netherlands. In 2010, the Dutch government decided that it was important that we should not only have a knowledge economy, the Lisbon agenda, but that we should also invest into technical jobs, into technical skills in the workplace. So the Dutch government invested into the smart industry, which is an important technological program in the Netherlands, but also into the VAT system. So if you look at the number of technicians between 2013 and 2023, this has grown significantly. So the insistence on STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics certainly has delivered in that respect. But if you look at the number of technicians in technical sectors, well, this has grown in the same way as the general working population in the Netherlands. So we have invested a lot, but does not impact in the technical sectors. Because if you look deeply into what this growth has been, then you will see that it's mainly growth in IT professions. So the more technical parts, they haven't seen any growth, but those that are digital kind of skills, that has grown quite considerably. And if you look at the education, and you can see that academic technical students, that has grown considerably, but for technical, the VAT level, it is remained the same. And within the secondary schools, those that have a technical profile, that has even shrunk over the past. So the prediction is that we'll probably have more problems in the future. Bottom line, all the investments in the Dutch case, because I see that in the Basque case, it's quite different. In the Dutch case, have gone to ICT and IT and digital skills, not sufficiently into more technical skills. I think that's something that we, and I'm looking at Wouter because he's also looking at the Dutch situation, we can learn from the Basque situation how to do that better. And this overall picture seems to indicate several different things. And what is the overall sentiment that gives me some concern? So again, back to productivity and innovation. The issue is that in the Netherlands, even if we've had this growth in technical personnel in the labor market, it is not reflected in what we can see here in productivity. This has declined over the years and has not changed, even if we have invested that amount of money. So that is a concern because we are not as productive and innovative as we want to be. One of the issues is skills mismatches. 15% of our workers do not have the right skills in the workplaces. So that's something that we really need to work on in the future. And certainly the issue at the professional level is quite striking. So there we have a lot of personnel shortages, a lot of issues that employers are insisting on. So even with the relative growth of employees, employers are still complaining about these personnel shortages. So let us focus somewhat more into these personnel shortages. We have a growth in supply of technical personnel over the past years. But we also see this kind of strange kind of things in the Netherlands. I'm not sure if that's the same case in the Basque country, is that only 30% of those having a technical education get into a technical job. So there's 70% that we have in other kinds of jobs. 35% of these people get into non-technical jobs. So we are investing a lot into technical skills. We're not using them in the right place. Why is this? Why are people that are following a technical education not remaining in technical jobs? Why do we have this loss? And this is one of the explanations why this is the case. The European Trade Union Institute has investigated where the biggest personnel shortages are. And both figures, so you have this line that says, well, if you're, this is an indicator for job vacancy rate. So the higher vacancies are with the lowest wages. And highest vacancies are in the sectors that have more people with less than 60% of the median wage. So the low wage sectors have the highest job vacancy rates. So it's not those that where you pay the most that you have personnel shortages. It's where you pay the least. So if we have in the Netherlands problems with attracting sufficient technical personnel, we should improve the quality of jobs. So that's the first statement that I want to make clear to you. So technical jobs have too low quality probably, and therefore are insufficiently attractive for technical students. We have to improve the quality of their jobs. In a situation of personnel shortages, and if you have the union of skills insisting on mobility of workers, then you sometimes get strange reasonings. And we have in the Netherlands a kind of idea saying, well, if this is the case, we have too little personnel. What we could do is close down major technical plants within the Netherlands because they are consuming a lot of energy. They are having negative environmental impacts. And if we abolish these jobs, these people can come available for other jobs. This is the case with the discussion on Tata Steel, which is in Hoek, which is at the seaside, which is an enormous and quite advanced technical plant, but it, of course, has its challenges for our environment and for energy consumption. But this scorched earth approach is something that I really do not want to support. We have looked personally, and we've used some AI to do that, at which skills are available at this moment with the Tata Steel personnel and which skills are needed in the labor market. And if these people with these skills would want to switch to these jobs, would they lose their money? Would they have opportunities? And if it's green, it shows that is a good switch. But you can see these are more the engineers, the managers. But what is red or orange means there's a very difficult combination between those skills here needed and what, in this case, Tata Steel offers. If we were to close Tata Steel today, we would not have these technical specialists available for other sectors. They would remain mainly unemployed. So I think even in the Basque Country, you would agree with me. This would be, to close down Tata Steel would be really a bad decision. We need these kinds of technical companies, certainly in the current context of our international competition. Okay, I'm insisting on the fact that we need quality jobs. So is focusing on company practices that help to make better use of these unexpected skills, is that a good strategy? There is a European policy that already provides this kind of direction. It's called Industry 5.0. As you know, the Bridges 5.0 project is focused on supporting this Industry 5.0 policy. And this policy is focusing on human-centric workplaces, quality jobs, on resilience. I heard a lot on resilience for the Basque Country, and on sustainability. Companies, like for example Tata Steel, really need to think of how they're affecting their environment, and that we only have this environment for once. We can't replace it. There's no plan B. So we really need to invest into having better places. So the European Commission has said, well, Industry 5.0 is a better alternative than only focusing on technology, which is Industry 4.0. But we need to focus on these three values for production. And they say it's not a revolution, but it's an alternative future for what is happening in the workplace. And especially the topic of human centricity is something that takes a lot of attention. And it shows, and it's a quite strange thing that the European Commission is insisting that workplaces should be human-centric, because we know all that the European Commission is mainly something that rules. You can't do this, you can't do that, you should not do this. But here, in this case, the European Commission is saying, well, we think you should have quality jobs in your company. You should improve human centricity into workplaces. So that's a new kind of approach from the European Commission. And it fits within the general approach of the European Commission to be more interventionist than only just rule-making. So there is a change in attitude coming from Brussels, which we're all going to be quite attentive to. It's good to say that you need to invest into human centricity, but does this really work? So can you see that companies become better if you invest in these kind of things? Let me give you two quotes. The first is coming from a study from the European Commission itself. and this is linked to the Corporate Social Responsibility Due Diligence Directive. Very long name, but it says that if companies invest into sustainability, their financial performance will have a positive correlation. So, and it's not only sustainability, but it's stakeholders' interests, which is also the fact that social responsibility is a core to this improvement. And the second is from a recent study, 2023, which says if companies invest in the social dimension and do that in highly competitive industries, it will give companies a competitive edge on rivals, and that leads to higher profitability. So it is wise to invest into human centricity within companies. The first study on the top is based on a meta-study of 2,000 other research. Below is some hundreds studies that have done this. But all the proof is in the direction that if companies do have attention to what is happening on the workplace, do have attention to quality jobs, this improves their bottom line. So why shouldn't you do that? A lot of people here will say, well, Stephen, we are in a context of globalization. Look what's happening in the US. We're in the situation where technology is improving a lot. It's destroying jobs. And we have this migration pressure. Well, yes, of course, you can see over time, we've looked at this in our Gini project. The three trends are going up. So yes, this does impact us. It forces us to change. It forces us to adapt. And as the minister said, we need better VAT to adapt to this kind of situation. But does this lead to worse workplaces? Does this affect us negatively? We've looked into this more deeply and tried to understand if this leads to more inequality. Well, and there's Spain. This is degree of transformation. So like Malta and other countries are more affected by globalization, technology and migration. But does this lead to more inequality? So the higher up you are, Bulgaria is quite high, there you have more inequality. But you can see that the line is really very gently going up. There's a minimal kind of correlation, but in fact, if you look quite deeply, there is no impact on inequality from those kind of trends. So we should not resist these trends, but we should build on these trends to develop our economic strengths. The biggest problem is not technology, globalization, or migration, it's educational mismatches. So we really should be thinking of how to deal with those kind of things. We really need to think of the causes of productivity fall and personnel shortages in a different direction. In the Bridges project, which I'm conducting here with Technica, with also the Mondragon University, with Mondragon companies, we've been looking into procedures and ways to deal and to understand what these companies need in this change to Industry 5.0. As I said, Industry 5.0 insists on human centricity, resilience, and sustainability. These things have not been trained in the past, so you really need to help companies to make the changeover. But what kind of skills do they require from people? This is quite complicated, and we have done and we've used AI to do this kind of analysis. And we've compared 4 countries on the basis of what vacancies ask from workers. What kind of skills are in these vacancies? If we divide these vacancies up into more Industry 5.0 type or non-Industry 5.0. So what I'm going to show to you is what it requires on the Dutch labor market for those that need Industry 5.0 kind of skills. And let me just look at what the companies demand. You can see that they require from companies more administrative law kind of approaches, but also green skills, digital skills, or more managerial skills. So there's a whole set of what I think the minister also said, critical thinking, managerial, entrepreneurial kind of attitudes that companies require. So if we want to think about productivity and we want to deal with educational mismatch, we really need to think on and focus on new kind of overviews of skills that are available or required from newly trained, but also workforces that are already working in the labor market. And what this figure does not show, but it is compared with France, with the UK, and Austria. These profiles are quite different. So you need to do this local analysis to understand what is needed. So you can't have one formula for all the countries in Europe. So in these challenging times, Europe, Spain, the Basque Country need to build a competitive advantage by focusing on these Industry 5.0 skills. And we have this very challenging international environment. I think everyone is looking at the television and asking themselves, what is the next surprise coming on for tomorrow? We're looking at a country that has started the greatest skills disinvestment in history. The US is criticizing universities for their diplomas, is disinvesting the VAT system. They are criticizing anyone with a white collar. So it is creating an environment in which development of new ideas, innovation is really attacked. And I don't think I can understand it. I don't think any one of you can understand why this would be a sensible policy. So the US administration focuses on blue collar, where Europe says, well, in fact, we do not need to make this distinction between collars. Let us just make workers and white collars one kind of group. Secondly, the US has decided to go fully into coal, fully into carbon-driven technologies, where we know that the future really is green. We have the opportunity to create a leading advantage in this kind of situation. So we need these kind of green skills for the future. Europe has decided that diversity is not important anymore. It's only about if you're white, Anglo-Saxon and English-speaking, which is important in the US. In Europe, and we've heard it again also in the presentation from the minister, it's about diversity, and diversity gives advantages. If we insist on this, we create another competitive advantage. In the US, it's the big 6 or big 7 or big 8, I don't know, leading companies that are governing the whole discussion. In Europe, we're saying social partnership is quite important. Social partnership is crucial for the quality jobs roadmap. But I think we should also have this partnership between government and what social partners are doing. I've been coming to the Basque Country for nearly over 15 years now. And one thing that I've learned is that the Basque government and the Basque people, and the word people was central also to the presentation from the minister, really insist into this quality jobs, into the importance of the people. You have these fantastic mechanical engineering companies in the Basque region. You have fantastic transport companies like CAF and Irizar. You have the tourism sector, which is quite important. And also the cooking is, of course, top of the bill. So let me finish my presentation with a very small anecdote. That was that when I was preparing my European proposals, and in this case it was the Bridges 5.0, I was discussing with the OECD which region I should include, which kind of European experiments I should include into the project to have a leading proposal. And the unanimous advice from the OECD was, If you do not have Technica, if you do not have the Basque Country in this proposal, you're nowhere. So we believe in the Basque Country. I hope that you also do that. I want to thank you for having the opportunity to have this presentation. As I said, the union of skills is important for the future, but the quality jobs roadmap should be first. And I hope that you, as Basque government and as participants and Technica, invest into this. Thank you very much.